Hello and welcome to today's webinar for Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2013. Today we'll be covering an introduction to warehouse and inventory management. My name is Gemma Warren and I hope you enjoy today's session. Today there are various topics that I'd like to cover with you. First, the location or warehouse setups, the division of the warehouses into zones, bins and the different contents in those bins. We'll then look at transferring stock between the different locations, as well as the inventory availability reports that we have. And let's also look at some of the bill of materials setups that you can set up within the system. We'll be doing another webinar at a later stage for inventory and supply planning. If you are interested in material requirements planning, please do watch this one. If we open Microsoft Dynamics NAV 2013, to the role center, shipping and receiving in the warehouse management system, we can see that this is tailored especially for those employees that are more focused on warehouse management. Today I'm going to take you through some of the reference data setups that we have. Here we can see some of the shortcuts that are most relevant to a warehouse manager, namely items, stock keeping units and locations. Let's look at locations. You can set up any number of locations that you wish to in Microsoft Dynamics NAV. If I double click on the blue location, it opens the location card. Here I can see the general information as well as the contact details for the person at the warehouse, the communication details that we need to communicate to contact them with, and also the rules that are set up for a warehouse. For the blue warehouse, I require a receipt and shipment document. However, I do not require any put away picks or any bins that are mandatory. As you can see, automatic data capturing is available in Microsoft Dynamics NAV. Let's look at the white warehouse, where we have a bin set up. Here we can see that we have a directed put away and pick because we have some bin setups for receipts, shipments, production, adjustment and cross-docking. These are the specific bins that are to be used when this type of process takes place in Microsoft Dynamics NAV. A warehouse can be divided into several zones. Once again, it's important to note that it is up to the user as to how these zones are named and how many you wish to create. As an example, we can see that here we have adjustment zones, storage zones, cross-docking and picking zones, zones for production, which may come under a quality control, receiving zones, shipping zones, and staging areas. Each of these zones may have a different bin type. The bin types, again, are set up by the users. Here we have set up a pick, put away and pick, a quality control, receive and shipment type. For each of the zones we can also look at the bins within that zone. If we look at the receipt bin, we can see that there are 4 bins within this zone. 3 of them are empty and 1 has stock in it. Let's look at the contents within this bin. Here we can see that item number LS75 has stock in that bin. Let's drill down into item LS75 and find out more information about this. We can view the stock keeping units for this item, and here we can see that there are different stock keeping units in different areas. We have LS75B, a black loudspeaker in cherry in the silver location, and LS75 black loudspeaker in the white location. And here we can see the inventory available in those different locations. We can also drill down to those and see the last transaction and entries that make up the total quantity within that location. Let's escape back to our bins. The bin content is currently filtered and sorted here by the white warehouse, the receiving zone, and W080001 bin. Let's take the filter off of the zone code and show all bins in the white warehouse. To do this, we should also remove the bin filter. Now we can see all items in all bins within the white warehouse. We can also see whether these are fixed bins for a particular item, default bins, or dedicated bins. There are certain bin policies that can apply within the particular zones. For example, we may have a warehouse that is divided into a freezer or cold storage zone and a zone for ambient temperatures where we store the non-perishable goods. The special equipment that may be required in a freezer zone is different to the special equipment that is required in the ambient temperature zone. We are able to set up different bin policies to ensure that the correct equipment is used, either according to the bin or according to the item. On the item card, there is a setup for special equipment. Let's take a look at the item card for LS75. This is our Cherry loudspeaker. Here we can see on the Warehouse tab any special equipment codes that are taken. This is a good example of the way that Microsoft Dynamics NAV integrates fully between inventory and locations. Let's look at two examples of transferring stock. First, we'll look at an example of transferring stock between the blue location and the red location. This is a fairly simple location setup that shows only the rules for receiving and shipping with no bin policies. If we raise a sales order for an item, let's use item 1896S, the Athens desk, and we are going to ship this out of the blue location. Let's do a quantity of 5. Here immediately I'm provided with an inventory warning that says the quantity is not sufficient to cover my sales order. I'm going to ignore the warning for now and say yes. In order to be able to ship this inventory out on the required shipment date, I need to ensure that the stock is available in the blue warehouse for that date. Let's ship this out on the 11th of July. Once again, we'll receive the warning because we have changed the shipment date. Again, I am going to choose to ignore that warning, and I'm going to first analyze the inventory that is available. I'm going to navigate to the item card for 1896 Athens desk. I can choose to show the item availability by event, period, variant, location, BOM level, and timeline. I also have an items by location report. This will show me all items for the various filters that I can insert here. I'm going to currently show all items across all locations. I can now filter this information to provide a detailed view of my Athens desk. Here I can see I've got 49 in the green warehouse, 20 in the red warehouse, and 160 in the yellow warehouse. Unfortunately, there are none in the blue warehouse, which is why I receive a warning. Let's raise a transfer order to transfer the stock from the red warehouse to the blue warehouse. To raise a transfer order, I'm going to type transfer into my search function and choose transfer orders. Here I can see transfer orders that already exist. I'm going to create a new transfer order. I will be transferring from the red warehouse to the blue warehouse, and the transit code will be the outbound logistics. I will be transferring item number I'll be transferring item number 1896, and I'll transfer just a quantity of 5 to cover my shipment. The posting date I've chosen is the 10th of July. I will ship out on the 11th of July. It is important to note that you do need to ensure that your transfer date is before the date of your sales shipment. On the transfer tabs, I can choose a shipping time, I can alter a shipping agent, and also the service that is available. On the transfer to, I can do the same thing, altering a receipt date as well as any transfer contact information that I may need to. Where I'm transferring between locations that are in different countries, I may need to specify the nature of the transfer as well as entry and exit points. This can be done under the Foreign Trade tab. I'm now going to release this document, create a warehouse shipment which will ship out of the red warehouse, and I'm going to post this shipment. I can choose at this stage to ship or ship an invoice. I will simply ship these goods. I can now choose to receive these goods. As you can see on the transfer order line, quantity 5 has been shipped. I now need to enter a quantity to receive. If I enter the quantity to receive on the warehouse line, I will see an error message that a warehouse receipt is required for this line. This means that any setups that I have in the warehouse location need to be adhered to. This is a prompt to ensure that the user follows through the correct process. Let's create a warehouse receipt. At this point in time, as with the shipment, we can also complete the posting date, fill out a vendor shipment number if there is a tracking reference that we need to complete, as well as choose a quantity to receive. It may be that we may not receive all items at once. In this case, I'm going to receive 4 out of the 5 and post this receipt. Here we can see that the receipt still exists with an additional quantity of 1. Let's say, for example, that this receipt of a quantity of 1 arrived with a different tracking number. We can complete the tracking number and post this receipt. Once the transfer has been fully shipped and fully received, the original transfer order will be deleted and you will be notified of this by the system. Next, I'm going to show you how to transfer using locations where we have zones and bins set up and particular rules against those bins. First, let's look once again at the item number for those cherry speakers. That item number, if you cannot recall it, you are able to search for. Let's search for anything containing the word cherry. Here I can see I have my loudspeaker cherry 75 watt. Before I run any transfers for this, I first want to find out what the item availability is by different variants. Here I can see that I have created a black variant for this item. I'm going to view this information by week, and I can see that I have a projected available balance of 240 of the black speakers. I can choose to drill into this at any point in time and view the original entries that made up this transaction. Here we can see that there was a purchase receipt on the 1st of August 2013 for an amount or quantity of 240 of these speakers. We know that August has not come yet, so let's find out what is happening by period. Here we can see the gross requirements, receipts, and planned available balance. We can track this through and see that we're going to have quite a bit of movement on this item in January 2014. Here we can see when the requirements, for example, requirements for transfers or requirements for sales, need to be met. I have 48 on a sales line and 11 on a transfer order shipment. We can also view the item availability by different locations. This gives us a slightly different view to the items by location, as this is narrowed down simply to one item. We can also view the item availability by location. This is slightly different to the items by location, as this is narrowed down to only one item. We also receive information regarding the gross requirement, scheduled receipts, planned receipts, and projected available balances. Once again, we can drill into the item ledger entries that make up these quantities. Let's view our item availability by event. Here we can see the inventory that is currently in stock and the up and coming changes to that inventory. Let's expand all fields. Here we can see that there will be a purchase order received from Service Electronics Limited, document number 104011, for a receipt of 160. This is due to be received on the 1st of February 2014. We can also choose to change the view by dates, either by day, week, month, or quarter, as well as year. This makes a difference to how you are able to view and sort all of your information, including totals. Here I can see that I have 160 on a purchase order as well as 300 on a purchase order. However, the total is saying only 160. This is because although the information exists on a purchase order, the purchase receipt has not been created yet for some of the documents. Only once a purchase receipt is created will the information show as a total. In this way, you are able to track where you may need to make changes to some already existing purchases. Once we are satisfied that we need to make the changes and transfer the items, we can then choose to transfer the items between the warehouses. For example, if I view the stock keeping units in this, I can see that I've got 240 items in the white warehouse for a stock keeping unit or variant code LS75B. In order to ensure that I can also ship out the silver warehouse, I'm going to transfer 100 speakers from the white warehouse to the silver warehouse. Let's create that transfer order. I'm going to create a new transfer order to transfer stock between the white warehouse and the silver warehouse. My transfer from code will be the white warehouse and the transfer to code the silver warehouse. I'm going to use my own logistics to transfer this stock. I'm going to choose item number LS75 and choose variant code black. The quantity that I'll transfer initially is just 5. I'm also going to only transfer this in September, as I know there is no movement currently in my sales orders up until September. Once you're happy with the transfer codes and the item number, you can release the transfer order. The setups against the white warehouse tell us that we need a receipt, a shipment, a pick, and a put away. Here we can also see that the pick and put away is a directed pick and put away to ensure that the bin policies are followed. Therefore, a receipt bin code and a shipment bin code will be relevant. Let's create a warehouse shipment. The warehouse shipment has been created for the outbound transfer. Because we require a pick note, let's also create a pick note against this shipment. We can assign a user ID that has access to the white warehouse at this stage. We can also choose a sorting method for the activity lines. I'm going to sort these by bin ranking. You can choose to print the document immediately. Alternatively, you can click OK. The system will tell you the pick number that has been created. To view the lines, we can click on pick lines. Here we can see for pick number 4 we have 2 lines created. Let's take a look at the pick card. Looking at the pick card, we can see that we have an outbound transfer for these items of that particular variant for take and place. Because of the setups of the shipment zone and the bin, we need to ensure that the items are taken from our particular zone and bin and placed in the shipment staging area ready to be shipped. Let's take a look at the bins that are available for us. Here we can see that there is a quantity of 15 available in the receipt bin already. The white warehouse is also set up as a cross-docking warehouse, so we can use this as this is in the receipt bin but has not yet been put into the final destination zone. Let's look at the setups for production BOMs. A BOM is a bill of materials. Here I can see that according to my items, I have a production BOM for bicycles, front wheel, hub, back wheels, chain assembly and brakes, as well as the 100-watt loudspeakers in the Oakwood Deluxe. Let's take a look at the bicycle. If we double click on the item and open the item card, we can see the production bill of materials is certified. This means that it is ready for use. Any bill of materials that are in a status of new or under development will not be able to be used in your production. This production bill of materials shows us the quantity and the items that are required. Here we can also set a scrap quantity if there is any scrap during the creation of our item. We also have a routing link code. We'll cover routings, capacity and any production linking in our next webinar for inventory management and supply planning. At any point in time, we're also able to see where any of the component items are used, not only in our current item, but also in other production items. For example, here I can see that this item, saddle, is used not only in our bicycle production, but also in our touring bicycle. Microsoft Dynamics NAV provides not only the ability to create production bill of materials, but also to create an assembly bill of materials. Here we can see any assembly items are marked immediately in this list of items. If we want to view the assembly or production structure, we can simply click on the structure. Alternatively, we can also look to the cost shares, assembly or production setup separately. Let's view the assembly setup. Here we can see the box of items that is made up of one box and 4 packs of the individual items. For more information on assembly and production planning, as well as inventory and supply planning, MRP and MPS, please refer to the next webinar for inventory and supply planning, brought to you by Microsoft Dynamics NAV and Advantage. I hope you've enjoyed today's session and that you'll join us for more of these webinars. Thank you for your time.